I love the group. I love coming. I love coming and getting to talk to people and seeing what people are doing. And I'll learn anything.
Cool. All right. Well, welcome.
Okay. My name is Haisha. I'm from China and I have been here for 3 years. Someday I will start my own business, but not now. And I come to learn and also come to here to make friends and networking. I think a lot of great opportunities to do international business, and I'm familiar with a lot of Chinese business industries, and I'm always take an eye on new products and new machinery, and so I hope I can build some foundation here. And nice to meet you guys.
Thank you too.
Thanks for coming. Pleasure. Let's skip across the aisle there.
Hello, everybody. My name is Antonio Lau. I'm the project manager for Innova Now. Innova Now is an internet marketing company. We do from SEO website all the way to social media marketing. So I'm very glad to. I'm new to this group. I just joined, and I just want to bring to the table to see what I can provide to you guys, and hope I can learn from also.
Thank you.
So I'm Donna Milgram, and I'm Executive Director of the Institute for Women in Space Technology and Science, which is a small national nonprofit. And we work with schools to help them close the gender gap for women and girls in science, technology, engineering, and math. And we do training across the country, both in person and online. And we have role model products like role model banners of female role models in STEM. And we do pretty sophisticated online marketing, and I'm looking to hire 2 part-time people, about approximately 15 to 20 hours a week, one as a digital marketing manager and the other as a digital copywriter. I have job descriptions if anybody's interested. And because we're a nonprofit, we're sort of used to doing things in a more traditional way hourly, but I know in the internet world, everybody does contracting, and so I'm interested in learning more about how to do that effectively as opposed to the old hourly way. How to, put out an initial bid for these positions to sort of test someone that potentially could become a more substantial relationship.
Great.
So I have job descriptions with me.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Name's Harvey Wallbanger. We have a line of beverages that we market. And we do some internet stuff on the side.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Jack Daniels. I'm Jake Bernberg. I do taxes and financial planning, and I'm interested in getting my website on Google Local sometime before the tax season ends. So I'm hoping, I don't know if that's too soon or if you can get on quicker than that or what, but that's kind of what I'd like to do.
Gotta get your postcards.
Bad. That'll take you a month.
You gotta go to Google and get your postcards sent to you. So Google.
Oh, okay.
And then they send it in the mail, you verify, those that are from it.
Yep.
So you speak for an authority of knowing how to build it.
Well, I've done it before too. He just did this one for me. And it took him 4 attempts to get it.
If nobody's there to get the postcard.
No, I didn't mail it.
Here's the thing, once you get the postcard, you can't throw it away until you respond to it.
I know.
Let's not get too granular.
All right, let's skip across to the Bo.
I think going this way.
We're at the boat.
Oh,
yeah.
I am Bo. I'm in the real estate industry, and I use social media marketing and all this stuff that I learned here to grow my business in that realm, and it's worked very well. I've been coming here for about 3 years. Learn something new every day.
Cool.
I'm Mazzer. I'm a college student. I work for him. So I'm here to just pretty much the reason why anyone is here to learn ins and outs of social media marketing, even though I'm recently kind of agree with it, there's always something that might surprise me and might not fully understand. So just trying to learn anything new.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming.
I'm Francisco, and I'm part of a family-owned startup group that we do develop games and a rewards program for gamers. And we also are a publisher of board games. And I'm here to learn about internet marketing in more details.
Okay, great. Let's skip over to this table, and this is going to be probably a little bit too close up.
My name's Andy Broner. I'm also a real estate agent. Assuming that's what you are.
Well, I do hard money lending and real estate.
Oh.
Okay, good.
So I'm here for the same reason as everybody else, to learn how to promote my business and get more leads.
Great. Thanks for coming.
Richard Abbott. I have a sign company. We actually make real estate signs. But I've been around for 30 years, and I have websites up, and I actually have a new website up, just got the Google postcard back in, it's up. But what I want to do is, for my clientele, I have very specific people who I'm after, and actually, it's actually not very many people. It's not a big target market. It's very focused. So I know the sort of people who I'm after. So I'm after really learning to fine tune the message, but also the reception, getting to the people who I want to get to, getting in front of them, what's it going to take. And it isn't a matter of like a lot of money as much as it is, I think, just focus, time, detective work, spade work, just like, putting it together. And it's like, so it's like, 6 months worth of work, or it's ongoing work. And to actually dial in social media and, Facebook, things like that, to learn how to do that in such a way that it's effective, and I'm not getting, mass reset, like, getting who I'm after, and not a bunch more people than that, or different people from that, or just, so learning to get who I'm after.
Cool. Who are you at target?
Basically, there's like large, well, for me, really good customers are like larger companies where they have facilities, and then we just do kind of, facility signage for them. We do signs for a large trucking company up in Napa. They're nationwide. We do a lot of work for the Giants, at AT&T ballpark. So just getting up to where, my ideal thing is if I had, or getting to maybe a dozen top-notch clients, and then that's, so my best clients now, I'm an account exec. I take care of them. It's an ideal thing, and it's taken 30 years to do that. So now getting to the really good clients, for me, we all have our ideal clients, but my good clients, who I want, and then finding them through,
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Tom.
Oh, I'm Tom Leonard. I've been working with Bill on this meetup for about 5 years now. Every couple of months, we kind of try and figure out how long we've been doing this. Yeah, it's been about 5 years. I've been working on a number of websites over the years, and currently working on apps. So
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for coming. Like I said, I think I forgot to turn on the broadcast at first, so it's a good time to start. I think. Say again?
Says we're live.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
So we typically do introductions, and just to let you know, there's drinks up at the front if you want drinks. There's Sprite and Diet Coke and water. And I'll just go ahead and get into the presentation, and then after that, we'll go ahead and just talk, whatever topics come up. So I realize that this presentation is going to be a little bit basic, but maybe that's what you need. I don't know. I don't know where everybody's starting, so we'll start here. And what are you seeing there, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what I'm talking about here is the pillars, and I think there are 3 pillars that you absolutely need to get started and build a solid foundation on for your online business. And whether you're a quote unquote offline business or an online business, you're an online business now because you're on the internet. You have social media accounts, and you have different things that you're doing online as far as outreach and how are you promoting your business. So everybody, unless you're completely unwired, you're an internet business, you're an online business. So that's what we're going to be talking about here. And so the first thing I want to say is that building your online business without the 3 critical components that I'm going to talk about is like building your house on wet sand at low tide. Eventually, your business will fail if you don't get these first 3 things right. And those things are, first of all, you need all 3. You can't just do 1, you can't just do 2, you got to have all 3. And you'll know what I'm talking about as you experience these things yourself. And, just in your mind's eye, picture a 2-legged stool. You can't really sit on it, right? Unless you're really good. So you got to get all 3. You got to get that tripod going. So, and everything you do has to be about quality. People, the best way to differentiate yourself and your business from everybody else is to be better than them. And the only way you can be better than them is to offer a quality product. You couldn't do what you do with the giants if you did a horrible job. They would drop you. Same can be said for anybody. If you're not providing the best real estate services that you can, and you're not doing it better than your competitors, why wouldn't I go somewhere else? And the last thing I want to say is don't try to compete on price, because that's a trip to the bottom. And nobody wants that race, right? I mean, wouldn't we rather work less time and less hard and make more money? If you compete solely on price, you're going to be working really hard for a really long time. So the first thing, and this sounds very, very basic, but you need a quality web host. And I can tell you right now that if you have a crummy web host, like I'm not going to name any names, but you can certainly ask questions and I'll tell you if I like them or not, because I've probably experienced more than most.
Can I mention names?
You can mention names, Don.
Okay, thank you.
Were you going to mention names, or? Okay.
Go, Daddy.
iPage.
I don't know that one. iPage, I don't know.
Gator House?
HostGator? HostGator actually was good about 5-6 years ago, and their support is absolutely horrible. And I will say that I used to use Bluehost. I used to use HostGator. Both of those companies, in addition to quite a few others, have been gobbled up by one big giant company, EIG, who doesn't seem to care about serving their customer. They seem more concerned with earning revenue. And in my dealing with them, I had all of my sites and all of my client sites on HostGator at one time, and I've since moved them all off because when you have a problem, it's even if you're on a shared server or a managed VPS, which is a little bit higher end, it's always your problem. They don't manage their servers very well, and they have a lot of security holes. And when they find something like some malware on your site, it's probably on all the other sites on that server too, but they shut you down. And there's a couple people in here who can attest to that.
Yeah.
Bluehost does the same thing, and it's very so they'll shut your account down, and then they'll tell you you need to clean your site. I don't have access to it. What am I supposed to do? Oh, you can pay us $100. It starts off at about $100. Then it winds up being $500. It almost feels like extortion. And interestingly enough, it always seems like you get reinfected with malware after that warranty period is over. So they'll clean your site, and then 3 or 4 days later, after that like 6-month period or whatever it happens to be that time, you get reinfected. It's amazing. It's It's purely a coincidence, I'm sure, but it's hard to deal with that. And if your website does get shut down, or you experience a lot of downtime, your business isn't working for you.
No, you just gotta pay for the protection.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Okay, in your opinion, which is the top 3 web hosting companies that you work with? Or 5?
Because I haven't worked with them all, I can only tell you the ones, I mean, the ones that I'm working with right now, I love. And that's Liquid Web and A2 Hosting. And A2 Hosting, just for full disclosure, is our sponsor for this meetup. They're the ones who buy you the drinks. But I've recently, that relationship just started a couple months ago. And I've got some sites on A2. It's fast. I deal I would say 99.9% in WordPress websites. Super fast for WordPress. They've got some really good tools on their site to help you speed it up. Their support is top notch. And when I say support, I mean I can actually either get on the phone or get on a chat and get somebody within a minute. And they'll walk me through whatever I'm trying to deal with.
The security is pretty tight.
Yes. Liquid Web is, I mean, they're phenomenal. Liquid Web and A2 Hosting. They're both very good. Liquid Web's it's quite a bit more expensive, talking around $100 a month. For a lot of different sites. You could put 20, 30, 40 sites on there, whatever. But A2 Hosting, I think it starts out at like $3, $4 a month for a shared hosting plan. It's really good. It's really good.
Do they cater to all types of businesses?
Yeah, they cater to all kinds of businesses. Yes, yes.
After this, would you please give us like a list of those? Or
It'll be in the show notes. So if you go to my website tomorrow, the list will be on there. Yeah, sure.
On the name of your website?
We like
internet-marketing-muscle.com. Yes, sir.
It's at the bottom of that.
we like in motion hosting. Like, have you heard of
Slide.
them?
I've heard of them, but I haven't had any experience with them. I will tell you that I recently moved away from Namecheap as well. Namecheap is one of my favorite domain name registrars. Very good support that way, very good, easy to work with. But when I hosted with them, I had lots of issues. Lots of issues.
Who's supposed to buy domains?
No, Namecheap is great for domains.
Oh, okay, good.
For web hosting, not so much. They were,
GoDaddy, right? GoDaddy's the same thing, and domains, and then
yeah.
hosting is terrible.
Yeah, the GoDaddy's hosting. I haven't tried them, but I know a lot of people in my industry don't like them
It's
for
my
the
understanding they
same
don't
reasons.
work well with WordPress.
Yeah, they're not optimized for WordPress, that's for sure.
Well, just as far as like registrar to store your domain circuit.
They're fine. I don't like their I don't like their sales tactics. Like if you go to GoDaddy and buy a domain, you have to wade through 7, 8, 9 screens.
Oh yeah.
To say I don't want that, I don't want that,
Yeah,
I
no
don't want
thanks,
that,
no
I don't
thanks,
want
no
that.
thanks, no thanks.
Yeah,
Check.
Namecheap, you basically add it to your cart, you pay your $10, and you're done, and it's flawless. So
What about A2 domain names?
I think they do domain names, but
You haven't tried them?
no.
Okay.
I tend to stick with 1 or 2 registrars, and they're usually separate from my host. I don't know that that's necessarily the best practice anymore, but it's been working for me, and I'm not going to change that. So what's really important is uptime, of course. You want your website to always be up. That's not always going to be the case, but most of these people will guarantee, quote unquote, guarantee 99-point-something% uptime. And if you calculate that out on the minutes over a year, that's, you're not down a lot of time. But you will find that, well, the server wasn't down, but your website was. And if your website's down a couple hours a month, that's a pretty bad uptime. Server's still working, you can still ping it, it's still talking, but it's not serving up your website. So to me as an end user, and to you as an end user, it doesn't really matter what the uptime is. It matters how often is my site down. A, because I'm not making money when my site's down. B, I have to deal with it, right? You have to call support or you have to get on a chat. Do you have time for that? People out in the field, real estate agents, you know, and whatnot, you don't have time to be on the phone dealing with a web host.
Do you usually find out that your website's down from the customers, or how do you find out?
Well, I typically find out through emails that I get from Liquid Web that say this service stopped or that service stopped, and then I can go check. That's how I do it, and they're pretty proactive. Like this morning, actually, my website received like 1,000 requests in just a couple minutes, so you know that's a hack attempt. And Liquid Web actually was proactive and blocked that IP address, so they couldn't, you know, they couldn't try to hit my website anymore. It just showed as offline or whatever to them, which is fine to me because they weren't going to do business with me. You know, they were trying to harm me, and so that was good. And I got the email. I read it. I got online. I did a chat, and we got the problem resolved within probably 2 minutes. So support is incredibly important. And flexibility. Go on.
For your business, though, you're in the business of keeping other people up, so that's very crucial. So part of your service with your clients is to keep them up. So your hosting, who you send them to, is more crucial. So you're being notified because you're the support for the sites that you service. Is that?
Yeah.
Right?
This happened to be my own website though.
Oh, okay.
Today.
Right.
But yeah, I do that for clients as well. Yeah. And you want a flexible web host. You want somebody who, you know, if you want to run a WordPress site, or if you want to run an HTML site, or if you want to run certain PHP scripts, or you want to run certain cron jobs or whatever, you want all that flexibility because certain plugins require, you know, different rights and different levels of functionality. If you know you're going to be strictly WordPress and that's all you're going to do, you could go with a WordPress, like a managed web host. That's not bad at all. They usually come at a higher price tag, but you have a lot less headaches. So, but just keep in mind that flexibility is important. And of course, price. I mean, nobody wants to overpay. What I find a lot of people do is they underpay, or they'll find a web host that's, you know, $3 or $4 or $5 a month, and in many cases they'll wonder why. Well, why is my website down? Why am I having all these troubles? Well, it's because you're on a shared server, and they probably put, you know, a few hundred websites on that server, and it's just overloaded. Yes, sir. Yeah, it starts out very low, and you can add good quality web hosts. As your traffic goes up, as your needs go up, you can transfer into a more sophisticated plan without having to like migrate websites and stuff. Like you can switch from a shared host to a managed VPS, or even to a dedicated. So I like to start people on the lower end because it's, you know, you can start a web business for about $100. You know, domain name and a year's worth of web hosting. You know, it's $100. If it doesn't pan out for you, you didn't lose a lot. I mean, $100 is $100, but you didn't lose a lot. You lost $10 a month, right? But if you start out at $100 a month or $200 a month and it doesn't work out for you, now you've spent $2,400 and you have nothing to show for it. So a good web host will allow you to grow, allow your website to grow as your business gets better and bigger.
You say managed site, what's it as opposed to?
Well, the difference between a managed and an unmanaged, let's talk about with respect to, say, a HostGator. They offer a managed web hosting and unmanaged. Basically, the lower priced packages are unmanaged, which means you manage it.
Right.
Which means you need to know Unix, and you need to know some PHP coding, and you need to know back end server stuff.
Right.
Whereas if it's a managed solution like what I have with Liquid Web, they do all that stuff for you. Come to the price. But I think the better question is, do you want all that stuff? It's a big burden. You have to become in many senses, you become a network engineer. You become, you know, a website administrator.
So you're saying you still want to do just have that?
I think you should have the capability to be able to do some of the management of your stuff, but if you don't want to, that's even better, right?
It's also use of time, isn't it? I mean,
Right.
Is it worth your time to deal with that, whereas it just as a function, as a service you pay for?
And it's not easy.
It's not easy, and you can mess it up.
Right.
It's not easy to manage.
Right.
You know what you're doing.
Yep.
You can really mess it up.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So the second part is, and this probably is a given as well, and that is you have to provide your audience with quality content, right? They're coming to your site for a reason. Well, why? They're coming to your site to either, you know, solve a problem, alleviate some pain, answer a question, you know, one of those things. Or maybe it could even be for entertainment, right? I mean, you're having a bad day, you go to a funny website, it makes you happy. If that website is actually earning any income or revenue, that's great for them. But the question you have to ask yourself is, why would somebody come to my website versus somebody else's, right? Somebody else who provides kind of the same products and services as I do. And the answer is, you're providing better answers for them, right? So you got to know who your audience is, what they want, and then you got to give it to them. It's really just that simple. And you got to showcase your best content on your website. Don't hide it behind. I think you shouldn't hide it behind, you know, a gate. You shouldn't hide it behind a paid product. You should show it out there to the world, because once you start getting a reputation for providing good quality content, other people are going to recommend you. Even other people in your own niche are going to start recommending you for their audience as well. So provide quality content. And the third part, I should amend this a little bit, but I started out saying, you know, you have to have an email marketing plan and you have to have good follow through with your email subscribers. I think that would apply to, you know, text messaging as well nowadays, because it depends on your audience, right? I think, and Don might want to chime in on this, depending on who your audience is will determine how they wish to communicate with you. And it's really a communication. Email is, it is a two-way communication, but it's not really synchronous. It's you talk, then I talk, then you talk, then I talk. Whereas texting is a little bit, it's still asynchronous, but it's much more real time. Like, I can see what you're doing right away. You know, I can see what you just said. Whereas email, I have to go check my email. But the point being, email helps you reach your audience. Email is still the most widely used communication form electronically that we have, in terms of, as a subscriber, I'm going to your website and I'm giving you permission to send me email, whether it's marketing or sales or information, content, free advice, whatever. I'm giving you permission to do that. So you need to keep that in mind when you send people emails. You don't want to be too spammy, and you want to make sure that the content you're providing there is just as good, if not better, than what you're providing on your website, because your subscriber is kind of even more important than your visitor, right? And your customer is even more important than your subscriber, right? Because they're actually handing over money in many cases. And I would say that you can find a lot of good product ideas or service ideas by asking your subscribers, your email subscribers, hey, how can I make this product better? You bought it, what do you like about it and what could be improved? Or if you're thinking about something new, what do you think, what do you see out in the market? And if you had your way, would you want to be part of building a product with me? And I'll take suggestions and I'll incorporate them into the product or service. It's a great way to elicit feedback. And like I said there, it's still the most used communication method.
What do you think of emailing posts?
Say again?
Buying a list and emailing it.
You mean spam?
Or, like a one-time email to a targeted group that will be interested in the product.
That's called spam.
Is it?
Yeah, exactly what it's called. Unless it's an opt-in list.
Are you not allowed to, I don't know, I thought you were allowed to do that.
Well, you can do anything you
There are all
want.
kinds of people who sell a list and like, there's one provider saying, knowledge and just emails about that you need.
I buy this all the time. It's technically you're spamming, but I do it anyways.
That's right.
Does it work out? I don't see it.
It works out fine. Yeah, but it depends what product you're offering. If you're a financial service guy and you're spamming, I wouldn't use it.
Well, no, I mean, it would basically be going into specific, like a list of real estate agents offering tax service for real estate.
Yeah, I think that's good. I would do that. But there's third parties. I'll tell you after this, but I'll give you a better.
Well, something else though too, which is that we make office signage like behind the reception desk and all that. So so commercial realtors would be one of our target markets because they're always replacing people in offices, right? So I actually contacted the offices, got to the office managers, and the office managers rebroadcast my email. So it's an internal email. So I know it's not spam. It's like from a known source. So who in the office is a service provider for the agents? So that would so if you can get inside and then
You're like using the phone to get to the key person.
Yes,
That's pretty smart.
I believe in phones a lot.
Have you tried
I'm
Skype?
old and crotchety, but if you haven't got a phone number, then
Has anyone used Skype or FaceMail or any of that for those types of solicitations? To your knowledge?
well, I don't. I mean, it's not that interesting. It's just basically it's a contact. So if you can think of a way that it's what are you selling, but if it's a way like for you, interior decorators, designers, who can move your product, who's sort of related, and then get to them, but have a relationship with them, even by phone, just call them up. And I mean, signs are unusual enough. It's not like magazine subscriptions. It's like,
They need them.
Yeah, they need it, right? And, it's easy, local thing, so, right.
No, good point, good idea.
You bypass the spam that way.
And I think, I know that, there's the whole Can Spam Act and, what is considered spam and whatnot. And I don't know if there are looser rules per se for B2B than for, B2C. I tend to think that B2B customers are less inclined to get infuriated over an email that they didn't necessarily ask for.
I don't even think an individual cares anymore.
Oh, they do.
Oh, they
Oh, they do.
Oh, do they?
yeah.
I get them all the time.
I do too, but I don't know. Okay.
I get people saying, why did you
I get
email me
spam
twice
all the time,
today? Because I love you. People will complain, and if they complain loud enough, it'll affect you. It's worse than that. They can unsubscribe, but they can report you to their ISP. They can report you to the FTC. Is it the FTC?
Yeah, the real point is this: if you're going to do that sort of thing, don't use your primary email as your email sender. In other words, you don't want to use your business email. That's the real danger, because if you get enough bad reports, people report you as a spammer, then any email you send out will be blocked.
Yep.
Period. And so always use a third-party email source if you're going to be doing that sort of
With a
marketing.
different IP, I assume.
Well, I assume it wouldn't be your IP.
Right,
It'll be a
exactly.
different.
It won't even be your web server.
Exactly.
It'll be somebody else's.
Doesn't it have your
He's talking about using like
as the return email address?
Return email address can be fine. I mean, that's it's just where the IP is being sent from.
But just do it.
yeah, you're talking like using Mailchimp or.
Well, there's a lot of ways to do it. That is certainly one way to do it. Assuming they will let you upload a list.
Of course.
You know,
They're always making sure you're not spamming.
well, they're hoping to make sure.
Yeah.
That is their lifeblood, right? They can't have their IP blocked.
And one person's spam is another person's, I'm glad you emailed,
Exactly. That's right.
you know?
I just want to make an additional comment on that. If you really want to make sure that you generate leads that are really valuable to your prospects, just join like a either group or any business organization like a chamber or like a business association.
Mhm.
If you're a member of that group and you get the contact information, then you can send an email or send a newsletter, which is better.
Right.
Okay, to share to the members. So that way they know who you are and you're not spamming. Okay?
Right, but again, you're spamming if they say you are.
Well, yes. Well, but you give them the right to unsubscribe.
Right.
You have to be in that way.
Well, you have to do that even if you
Yes.
don't know them.
Here's,
But if you know them, that's
Yeah, there's one extra layer there, yeah.
It's a different,
here's the thing, if the customer says you're spamming, you're spamming. That-
Yeah.
You may not be spamming, but you,
If the
They-
customer says you are,
and
Well, if they know you, then it's different because they know that.
No,
What he's saying is no matter how it could be your sister. If she says spam, you said her
Yeah.
email, she marked it as spam, it's spam.
Yeah.
Period.
this is where you're guilty, whether you think you are or you're not.
Until proven innocent.
It just doesn't matter. That's just the way all these ISPs work. And then going back, just to let me back up here a little bit, Bill says he had a guy complain because he sent him 2 emails in a day. What this guy may not realize, and what Bill may not realize, this guy was on 2 different lists of his, or maybe 3 or 4 different lists. All right, and because he's bought 2 or 3 different products from Bill, he's on 2 or 3 different lists. So when Bill sends out an email and it's a blast out, if he had to send one from this for this list and then for this list and for this list, if the guy's on 3 lists, he's gonna get 3 emails.
Well,
That's and it's the same thing's gonna happen to you. If you have a number of different lists and you send out the same email or variation thereof to your different lists, that customer, any of those customers that bought other products from you or signed up from other lists from you, you're going to get that many, he's going to get that many emails, and he may think you're spamming, and you're not. But he says you are.
There
You're
are
guilty.
platforms,
But
though,
I
Tom,
mean-
there are platforms that will look at the emails that are going out,
Okay, well,
and then if there's duplicates, will not send more than 1 email to that same email address. So it depends on what platform you're using.
Okay, Weber, I just unsubscribed from one guy just 2 days ago. I did not realize I was on 9 email lists of his.
I mean,
And this because Weber gathers all these together and says, this is the email list that you are on of his,
but
which ones you want to subscribe on.
Right.
All.
I mean, that is basically a technical problem, and how they manage their database.
right.
I mean, this
Right.
this can be avoided if it effectively.
Well,
True.
a lot of this
It's-
stuff can be avoided. The complaints can be avoided if you provide, basically double opt-in people. That means when they sign up to your list, they get an email that says, "Do you really want to do this?" And when they click that link, that's the double opt-in piece. So that's one area secure as the email marketer because they double opted in. They can't They still will say, I don't know how you got my name. Well, because you signed up here and oh, by the way, you confirmed. But even then, I mean, why go through the hassle of getting marked somewhere in some system as a spammer? Whether it's they reported you to their ISP or to the FTC or to this or that or the other thing, right? Another thing you can do is provide quality content. Don't just be hawking products all the time. Hey, you need to buy this. You know, you could still say, hey, you need to buy this, but here's why. You know, because the way I look at it, you're in business to sell something. They got on your list, and I'm sorry if they're clueless, but you know, I have a business to run. I'm going to sell you something, or at least attempt to sell you something, but I'm going to do it in a way that doesn't offend the senses. A lot of times, what I do when I'm going to pitch a product, I will say at the very top, cut to the chase. Here's the link. Go buy it if you want. Then I'll go into a story as to why it's important, and then I'll give you a link at the end. Here's where you go to buy it if you want. You know, not a high pressure thing, but you know, we're all in the business to sell something, right? Whether it's a product, a service, whatever. So, you know, you can't let it bother you if somebody complains that they're being spammed or whatever. But on the other hand, it's just the cost of doing business. And like Dawn said, I mean, there are certain things you need to do to shield yourself from that, and that is don't use your primary email server as your mail out server for these types of, you know, kind of broadcast or auto response type emails. The last thing you want, I mean, and this has happened, you know, you do that and you get on a blacklist, and your server gets put on a blacklist, and it's really, so I shouldn't say that. Your server gets put on many blacklists. There are many blacklists. Like one complaint can go to many different blacklists, and it's near impossible to get off some of them. So you know what you do? You switch web hosts. That's the only thing you can do, because then you get a different IP address, you get a different server name. It's still your originating email address, but that's a lot less bad than having your server on this list that you just can't get off. There are some, trust me, I tried this. There are some lists you cannot get off of. Once you're on, you're on. That server IP is on there, you're done. You know, so bottom line is be sensible about what you're doing. You know, there's no need to email people that don't want the relationship with you. There's no reason. If you're going to do that, I would suggest to take his route and find the gatekeeper or whoever and see if you can build a relationship that way, and then say, is there a way that you can help me communicate this message? You know, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a smart way of going about it. It's also much more time consuming than we just sending.
Trust me, it's a lot more time consuming trying to get your IP off this 25 lists. It's a lot more time consuming. Trust me.
Hire an assistant to make phone calls for it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There's a lot of strategies that don't have to do with buying lists, and we held a call summit. So actually, we got the greatest increase, and it was very targeted. We held an online conference this year, and we had 1,300 people attend, and I think 700 of them were new email sites. And so, like, you might want to consider doing something like that in your area of expertise. So we have partner sponsors who sent emails to their list. It was free. We monetized it, not as successful as we wanted to. For sure, our first time out, by selling like after the 4 days of the Tunnel Summit, and we also then had transcripts made to go on with the audio. We had 12 different speakers, and that was actually what got us the greatest boost so far in a targeted kind of way. I had other colleagues in my field who are experts also talk, and then they sent to their lists as well. So I might want to consider something like that.
Yeah, and Bo, you might want to talk about your experience with the bar camp, with the REI bar camp.
Bar camp is an unconference. It's an unconference. It's like this room, but you have different breakout sessions.
It's an unstructured conference where the participants decide what they're going to talk about.
But it's a live conference or what?
It's live. Yeah.
They do a lot of technology.
So look up bar camp, and you know, when Tom and Bo and I did his bar camp, I think a little over 100 people showed up, and damn near every single one of them signed up for his email list.
It's like band camp.
So you can do the same thing for financial services. Or you can go to one like mine and have, you know, run a track on, you know, yeah, like tax loopholes for real estate professionals. 101 things you need to know so you don't pay no taxes. It's true if you're considered a real estate professional, you spend X amount of time in real estate per year. Yeah, you get like unlimited deductions.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
And you live on borrowed money.
OPM.
so getting back to the presentation, if it comes back online here. Come on. All right. So as Dawn alluded to, you know, you're going to want to, if you're going to be email marketing, and you should be email marketing, make sure that whatever service provider you're using, and Constant Contact I think was mentioned, Aweber was mentioned, MailChimp was mentioned. Those are all, you know, quality service providers. Make sure you look at the deliverability. That means if I send an email to 100 addresses, is what kind of percentage am I going to get actually delivered to that person's inbox? It does matter who your email service provider is. Many don't have, and I'm not going to name names because I don't know them, but many have reputation such that certain ISPs will just blanket block emails from that service provider. That means that, you know, there's a portion of your emails that you think you're going to reach your targeted audience, they're just not going to get there. Aweber has a really high deliverability rate. So, you know, now that doesn't guarantee that your recipient is going to read it. Doesn't guarantee that, you know, they're going to open it and act on it. But at the very least, it has to get there. If it doesn't get there, there's nothing you can do to influence, you know, their behavior. You also want good support, just like a web host. If you're having a problem with building a form, or, you know, I can't get this piece to work. Maybe you're trying to email out to a segment of your list. I can't get it to work. Is it easy to call them? Is it easy to email them? Is it easy to chat with them? Will you get resolution? I've had really good luck with Aweber myself. You also want to look at features, right? It's always features and price. Aweber is probably a little pricey. MailChimp, I think, is free for the first, what, 500 subscribers. So that's a good place to start. If you're starting out right now, start with MailChimp. So it's a great place to start because you don't pay anything. MailChimp, yeah. MailChimp does. I don't know. Aweber has, I think, like $1 30-day trial or something, but then after that, what's it start at? Like 20 bucks a month? Is it 10 bucks?
19.99.
Yeah, 20 bucks for the first, what, 500? Yeah, it's a tiered process. So basically the bigger your list, the more you're going to pay per month. So it's kind of not a bad problem to have, right? If you can mail 10,000 people, that's better than being able to mail 1,000 people, all other things considered, you know, equal. So I like Aweber. They really haven't done me wrong, but I would certainly recommend MailChimp. My wife has used MailChimp. I know a lot of people like Constant Contact, and what's the other one? What's the other one? Big one.
Virtual response. Virtual response.
Yeah, Virtual Response, Get Response. They probably have a email service built in. Infusionsoft has one, but they're very expensive. But you can do a lot with it. Active Campaign's really good. They're not too expensive. What else? I think that was it for that. Yeah. So, you know, you have to build a solid foundation, or otherwise your business is going to sink when it starts. You know, when you start to see, you know, you're going to start to see cracks. Get a quality web host. Pay a little bit more per month if you can. Don't go overboard though, because it may not be worth your while. Make sure you write or create awesome content. It has to be quality. It has to be better than your competitor. And make sure you have an email marketing plan in place. I would suggest even before you start a website. Now, most of you probably already have websites, so you can't really follow that advice. The next best advice would be get your email program in place right now. I ran a really successful, highly trafficked fitness website for about 3 years before I started collecting email addresses. This was about 10 years ago, and you can't recapture that. That's people who visit your website may never come back, but if they visit your website and they're intrigued by your email opt-in offer, whether it's a free report or whatnot, they will subscribe, and you'll be able to contact them until they unsubscribe. I can't contact website visitors who didn't subscribe. A, that would be spam. B, I wouldn't know how to contact them because they didn't leave their email address or their phone number or their, you know. So I would say to start that now. That's it. Any questions? Any feedback? Any words of wisdom coming from your own experience?
Are we eventually in the next year going to like a more detailed?
Yeah.
You know, what's an effective internet marketing campaign?
Yeah, we are, and you know, I want this meetup to be for you guys. It's not just for me to be talking. So I want it to be for you guys. So I welcome, you know, topic suggestions, and you know, maybe you could lead a session, or you could lead a session, or whatever, and then we just talk about it. I think we're going to learn more by us talking than me talking. And I like to learn too. So if you have experiences, you know, to share that are worthwhile, I'd love to hear them. So
I mean, it totally depends upon your target market, but Twitter and all these other things. I mean, I don't even know how to do that. I've never done it. I've never tweeted. Now I can be told. Oh my God, you know, we exist. But,
we have an earthquake coming.
But I mean,
you know, next life I'll be coming back as a bird.
yeah, but essentially, like with, like, again, there's the initial contact, but it's also got to be, you know, some sort of, you know, tailored, but also sort of robust follow-up. I mean, it's got to be like the email, but then if you have a Facebook thing, and then if you're doing this and doing that, and so that there's something going on, so people can plug in. You know, what kind of how important is that to have a presence on all these different platforms, and to be uploading content, and to become interesting, and do all, just like, you know, because it's,
yeah. So you're basically saying, or asking, how important is it to be on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and this and that and the other thing?
yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. Yes. So it's the the whole, that's the social marketing. You know, the whole things. There's a service contacted me, Yodel. You know, contacted me, and they, you know, $250 a month, and they'll manage all, do all the stuff and everything, constant, this whole constant thing, that they'll do, but then they won't direct it to my website. It's landing pages, and then I've got to, harvest landing pages.
Is it
their landing pages? Yeah. So it's like, what?
Yeah, they suck.
You've done it?
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah,
dealt?
yeah, I wouldn't use it.
Yeah.
I've never used them, but I don't think if you're a business, you probably, you should have a Facebook page. Takes like 30 minutes to set up.
Yeah.
You have a website already?
Yeah.
And then email marketing.
Right.
And maybe a YouTube commercial.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
YouTube channel is really good for you. And then go local. So people like when they Google signs.
Yes, yeah,
San
exactly, yeah.
Francisco, so you should do what we were talking about going local. You
What's
can
that?
register your business, and then Bill can explain it better than I can.
Oh, I got the postcard already back
Yeah.
from Google.
So
Yeah.
then you do citations,
Yeah.
and Bill will tell you a little bit more about that.
So,
Right.
and anybody else can chime in too, but basically citations are kind of like, they're mentions of your site in terms of name, address, phone number on other sites, meaning
Right.
Yelp or Google Plus or Yahoo directories, that kind of thing. You want your business to be listed on multiple local directories with the same name, address, and phone number, so that basically they're kind of like the local equivalent of backlinks for SEO.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Right.
votes.
Right.
But you just want to have as many relevant ones as you can, and that they're all accurate.
Right. So if you do that properly, then you really don't need the Google search words. You don't need to. If you build that in a focused enough way, that then you really don't need to go the Google search word paying for like.
I wouldn't ever say you don't need, but you could probably do without.
Right.
I mean, if you want to reach more, if you want to reach a larger audience, I would definitely pay for ads.
Right.
Whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Google or all or a combination of some.
Right.
But don't confuse yourself and get too bogged down in, I got to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
I would focus on one or two things at a time.
Yeah.
And dial them in it sounds like you have a good handle on actually contacting potential customers that you want to do business with.
Yeah.
You may not need more than that.
Right.
Except for maybe brand recognition.
Right.
Because what's your company name?
Signworks.
Anybody else know Signworks?
Nope.
Okay.
Signworks. Yeah.
Good name.
Yeah.
So I would say that 90% of the people in here don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's not Nike. But how did
Right.
they get to where they are? I mean,
Essentially, though, probably some people, maybe half the people, aren't really my customers anyway. That you're not,
That could be a huge customer.
You could, yeah. You're realty, though. I mean, that's one of our target markets. Realty.
right. So what I'm saying is you need to probably build brand recognition amongst peers of companies you're already working with.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't you want to work with the A's and the Raiders and
Right.
the Sharks and
Right.
the Kings?
Yeah.
So you need to find contacts. You either need to call them up and then do business with them, or I would suggest that you do both. You do a little bit of advertising outside.
Exactly, which is I was saying first, more like spade work, detective work, just hoe in the garden kind of, turning over the soil type of thing.
Yeah. So as far
Not a blitz.
as having a social presence, maybe you need it, maybe you don't. What I do is,
Facebook likes me on Facebook. Does that matter? I mean, is that like?
well,
Doesn't get on there.
it does to some people. So for example, if you have a Facebook page that has 3 likes,
Yeah.
and your audience is on, like a good portion of your audience is on Facebook, and I'm not saying they are, I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's say they are.
Right.
Let's say I am. I'm
Okay.
on Facebook, I'm a potential customer.
Right.
I do whatever media for the A's.
Yeah.
If I go to your Facebook page and it shows 3 likes, I'm going to think, first impression, you're probably not serious.
Right.
But if you have 10,000 likes, that's a hurdle, right? You've put in the work. You've got at least 10,000 fans, quote unquote fans, even though they may not ever buy from you.
That's the part.
Well, true,
Yeah,
but
right.
I mean, at least you can measure that. You can't measure. It's harder to measure when somebody sees your billboard and
Is that what people are looking
does
for,
something.
though, when they show up at your Facebook page? If you- I don't have a Facebook page, especially. If people are looking for something and they find your Facebook page, and your Facebook page has good content and a good offer, do they really care about your likes? They won't push on your thing if it doesn't have enough likes?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Well, I will, because I want to make sure how your brand is outside, how many people really like your brand, how many people have shared your page. You only have 3 likes or 3 shares, that's telling me that, you're small.
Your business isn't very active.
Your business is small, or you're just starting the business.
and while it may not make a
Which may not
difference,
be true.
it does make a difference to the person looking at it. Like, if somebody asks me for a friend request on Facebook and they have 0 friends, they're out because I think they're fake. If they have 3 friends, I'm like, are they any of my friends? They're out. That kind of thing. So it's the relationships and it's just kind of a metric. And I don't know if it's 10,000 or 1,000. It depends on the business, probably. But there is some threshold where somebody says that's probably not it's not a viable business. It's not a legitimate business.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So what I haven't heard about, but I think is really critical to this conversation, is what your purpose is with social media. Because if your purpose is to sell something, then you have to see if it monetizes or not. So for example, our audience is educators in schools, and they are less active on Facebook because they're concerned about students seeing their stuff. And so they're not a good audience. It hasn't monetized for us. And LinkedIn is actually better, but frankly, social media is just not that great for educators. And so there's some LinkedIn groups that we post to, but we track to see if they purchase like our training or if they even show up at the free webinars that leads to purchasing the training, and they don't. So we don't focus on that. And so if you are gonna do Facebook, I think you need to determine if your audience is active on Facebook and potentially can be converted. And Twitter, for example, Twitter often doesn't convert into sales. So you can have a lot of Twitter followers, but they may not buy anything from you. So,
Right.
If your goal is a social campaign, then it wouldn't be for you, but it could be for us. Then you might do it. But if it's to sell something, then I don't think Twitter monetizes for most. So I think you have to keep in mind, what you're doing. And if you don't want to do a Facebook page, then don't do a Facebook page and only have a few people, because people will think, you don't really have much of a following. Just don't do it if you're not going to fully do it.
That's actually worse, you're saying.
That's important.
You have to determine if Facebook is good for your particular audience, Jake, and it may or may not be.
I want to compliment the Donna's comment on that.
Yes.
Because I do have a customer, he's the owner of a restaurant in the Mission, a peanut restaurant, and he monetized on his Facebook page.
That's good.
Yeah. Why? Because he provides live music on Thursdays, on Saturdays. So everybody shares every event that he does in the restaurant.
Mhm.
And that brings him, that monetizes his business because that attracts new customers.
Mhm.
Also, the people who goes to those events, they share their experience in the restaurant with that concert.
Mhm.
So all their friends, family, they see, they have a good time. So that brings more audience into his Facebook page, his business Facebook page, the restaurant, the mini hotel restaurant, and he creates more customers
Right.
At the end. So he does monetize in this particular case.
And even if you can't track back to a direct monetary exchange, you can't underestimate the power of, say, a Twitter for reaching a really big influencer, perhaps adjacent or in your niche. Like, I don't know, what if the owner of the Warriors, who had never heard of your company before, he probably has, but let's say hadn't, and he saw something on Twitter about, you provide all the signage for the Giants.
Right.
That might be enough social proof for him to go, I'll make a phone call.
Right.
And you get a customer like that or a contact like that, he can not only give you his business, but he can refer that business to many other influencers. So it's like, if Bo gets one lead out of social media, that could be 10 or 20 or $30,000.
Sure.
Whereas for you, well, not you, but maybe somebody else who sells a $7 product, it's not worth it. Right. So you just don't know until you analyze it and measure it. Right. And kind of try to connect the dots when the measurement doesn't match what your experience is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to kind of add a little footnote here is keep in mind Yellow Pages are not working that much anymore.
Right.
News media typically is not working that much anymore, except for some areas. So, marketing is tending to move towards social media. And it's not because I want it to. I don't care.
Right.
It's because that's where the younger generation is going.
Right.
My wife and myself had a conversation this afternoon before Bill picked me up about this very thing. Some of the things that the kids were talking about the other night when we had a family get together that we were just totally shocked about that they are doing because of what's happening on social media. So, I'm not here to say it's good, bad, or indifferent. I'm here to say it is a force to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't used it, and you can't really say it's not going to work for you, because it does work for so many people. I'm in the belief that prove it. Then, if you can prove that it's not going to work for your market, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess giving an example, it was for my customer.
Right. So I think it works and it doesn't work depending on lots of factors.
Now the challenge is that he has to manage the page.
Right.
This is
When people make reviews on the Facebook page, he answers back.
This is part of business, though.
Yeah, that's
Different jobs are created at different levels because of different things. Bo has an entourage of people that work for him because of what he does. He has a lot of different people to do a lot of different things, so he doesn't have to.
Yes.
Okay?
But
And part of it's social media.
Yeah.
He doesn't do
the
it all.
resources to manage it, that's great. You have the resources. If you don't have the time or you don't have the resources, then you can always have the option to outsource that.
Exactly.
And there again, you need to decide, do I get an ROI on that?
Right.
If I outsource it, now
Right.
it costs me more.
Right.
Well, maybe it doesn't because I'm not doing it now, and that's an opportunity cost where I could be selling more actively.
The other thing too is that if you actually do a Facebook page and you get 3 likes, that's actually worse. You shouldn't have done it. I mean, so it's got to be some sort of thing where you get all the way to where it's something worth doing. So I mean that's useful to know. Don't do a Facebook page.
If you only get 3 likes, then you're not doing it right.
You gotta be proactive.
Yeah, right.
There's gotta be a
So,
way to
so
fix
that, you know, you don't want to, yeah, but it's useful to know that you don't want to have a bad presence out there, or you don't want to put out a red flag, you know, do something and then not manage it, and then it's a big red flag.
But I think every business is, you're right, every business is different. You already know how to get the leads, right? You already said, you have one really good marketing method. So obviously you can pick maybe 2 channels to do some, maybe a commercial for your business that you can email out to customers and have them share on their platforms about your services. But my point going back was that you already said that you just find the gatekeeper and then share the information. Right. So one thing you could just do off the bat is hire somebody and just train them how to do that one component of it. So they're on the phone all day, opening the door to you, to the gatekeeper.
Right.
And that's all they do for 4 hours a day.
Right.
You double your business right there.
Right.
There you go. Here, give me a check for $1,000.
Oh, that's the business you're in.
That's right.
Hard money lending.
Yeah.
You have somebody who calls for you?
But he's for his business. For my business, I'm trying a lot of stuff. Right now I'm doing pay-per-click. I've never tried that, so I'm trying that. Do some videos. We do.
We're doing live monthly videos.
Email blast.
Live monthly videos.
Live monthly videos where I interview an expert in real estate on a particular niche, and then we're going to put, fill the audience. So whatever.
I think the important issue is content, right? Like if you're generating value on the content, and that's why you're getting an audience. They are interested to see what you post. So it's not only to have the right social media per se, the right tool, but you also have to manage the content, because you're not posting nothing interesting. People may look at your page a couple of times and say, okay, it's the same thing that I read last month or 2 months ago. So they're gonna stop visiting the page. Either be your website, either be your blog, either be your Facebook page or your video, YouTube, whatever tool you're using. You have to post with the right content, and that's what you do. You're doing it the right way.
Right.
That's the key.
And you bring up a very good point. And one of the things that I've noticed all along here is that as you do more with Facebook, as you do more marketing, if you focus on just one aspect of it, it's not going to get you as far as if you do a little bit of a shotgun effect. Also, one of the things that Bo did in YouTube a couple of years ago, did a lot of informational videos. Maybe you could do informational videos on signage, what to look for in different types of signs, what you should be, asking your sign man, what your sign man should be telling you, what your sign man should be doing for you. That could be, how many hundreds of videos could that be?
Sure. Well, just a couple of them, but basically just like ordering a sign. If you've never gotten a sign, don't know anybody in the business, it could be just a nightmare, because it's just something, you just don't know how to ask for it, right? And then it just goes through it all day long. So that's a good idea.
And I've never seen anything on YouTube yet. Of course, I haven't looked, other than Bo's done signs, and I've had to go pick up signs and put signs out, and But here's the thing: if you don't know and you haven't tried, who knows?
Yeah.
One last thing on YouTube, your title or your video could be your keyword. So
yes,
it could be banner signs for sports arenas or whatever your keywords are.
Yeah.
You're going to rank on the first page. It's not going to be competitive for your terms. And so it's like a free way of doing it, other than whatever it costs you to produce a short video.
Right. No, that's really good.
And you don't know how many people are asking. YouTube is the world's second biggest search engine, and most people on YouTube are looking for how to. If I didn't know how to order a sign, I might go to YouTube and say, how do I order a sign?
Right, yeah.
Or you go to Google and say, how do
we order a sign.
and they'd show you YouTube. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, and here's the thing, Google loves to show video. So if you'll notice, top searches typically have videos.
Right.
Your top search results, I should say.
Yes. Right.
Have typically are videos.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where Google comes in.
You know, I actually think that for your particular business, you know, if I was looking at, I had the Giants in my back pocket, I would really be just trying to get to the other sports teams because, and that's not really, I don't think that's an internet job. I think
No.
that's a very targeted
Right.
telephone job or
Yeah.
mailing job or something like that.
Yeah, detective work. Right.
I mean, you need to have a site just so that you have reputation.
Right, yeah.
But if you can call in and say, you know, you do the signs for the Giants, you're gonna get an audience.
Right.
But you can also use social media like LinkedIn or Twitter to find out who those people are.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. So you know that's really what I'm after.
LinkedIn is really good.
Right.
Really good.
Yeah, LinkedIn might be your best bet
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
But again, try it.
So, a different subject, content. Do you have any company that you work with for effective or for content creation or whatever?
Oh, I've written a lot of content for various companies. Yeah, I've done some training courses for some companies. Yeah, I've done some. I've done some work with Bo and some work with Dawn, some work with Tom. I'm not going to talk about people I've worked with elsewhere. But yeah, I've done a lot of content work with a lot of different companies.
That's the challenge really, is to get the right content. You keep putting out stuff that people aren't interested in anyway.
Absolutely, and the key is always measurement, right? It's like how much, pick a metric and measure it, right? Pick some kind of, do I want to see visits? Do I want to see uniques? Do I want to see engagement? Do I want to see likes, shares, retweets? What do you want to see? And measure that, and then tweak things so that you can improve your metrics. And the bottom line is that content, is it returning? Is there a positive ROI on it? And is it a good enough ROI that it makes sense to do this rather than that? Because we're all faced with resource constraints, right? There's 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. You can't do more than that. You can always hire more people, I guess, but that has its limitations too. So it almost always comes down to what's your opportunity cost. What opportunities are you missing out on by doing this? So should I, if I'm gonna limit the conversation to content, what kind of content should I be delivering? Should it be video, audio? Should we start a podcast? Maybe. Should I write blog posts? I think it's a little of both, or a little of all. But there is going to be one activity that probably gets you a better bang for the buck. And if I were to guess right now, for the majority of businesses, it could be video. Because you can always drive visitor, traffic from that video back to your website, back to a contact page or an opt-in page or a landing page, an opt-in page. For me, in the predominantly what I do is I want an email address. Whereas other people like Bo might want, or you might want a phone number. You want somebody to call you, right? You don't necessarily want to chat with them in Messenger or anything like that. You want them to pick up the phone and say, I have a house to sell. Can you sell it for me? Of course. Once you're on the phone, you're probably, you can probably close lots of deals. But until somebody calls you or you outreach to them, you have no business. right? And that's kind of where the signs come in, because you guys still use a lot of signs, right? And you've heard of him, but you probably, I mean, yeah. Yeah. So, it's
Wait, what street are you on?
3rd Avenue. Actually, we have a real estate sign company, 939 sign.
Oh, well, no offense, but I hate your partner.
Oh, okay.
Ray?
Right.
Yeah, that guy did me so wrong, no offense. I've never been, actually, somebody's been that rude to me ever.
When was
But
that?
I don't know.
Wait a minute.
Seriously?
we can change that right now, Don.
No, this guy's been, God's on his
When was
Come
that?
on, Don.
How long ago?
I think it was like maybe I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I went in there and no offense, I paid him like a rush fee. He just treated me like shit. I went in there shaking because I was so angry. So anyway, but I think
Wait, you came out there or you went in there?
what?
You went in there shaking or came
Shaking because I was angry the way he treated me.
You said you went in there.
No, I was angry the way he treated me. Like God's honest truth. There's no.
You're next.
Yeah. Look how worked up I'm getting right now.
No one.
I know where you live, Don.
You're welcome for dinner anytime.
Yes.
So can I ask a question? Maybe change the direction
No.
a little bit.
Go ahead.
So I'm basically, tax season is basically from now to April 15th.
Yeah.
After April 15th, the number of searches will dramatically decrease. And I'm wondering, like,
Well, it depends on who your audience is too, right? Is it individuals mostly?
individuals and small business.
October 20th is another big one, right?
Yeah.
October 15th.
Um,
Depends a little late.
yeah, that really does, yeah.
I wish the IRS paid late fees.
They do. They pay you interest. If they overcharge you, they'll pay you interest.
At what, the Fed funds rate?
Yes. My last interest check was less than 34 cents. And my return was very large.
I've gotten as much as 67 cents. So it's something you're not doing right. Sign up for my $49 webinar and I'll teach you how to get 67 and 30%.
I'll teach you how to double your interest payments from the IRS.
No, but so basically, I'm really glad for the fun. But I'm just interested in how, to get for, like, right now I have a website, but it's just an expansion of my business card. Really, it's not something that I work very much. And, most of my business has been, referral.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm wanting to kind of have an internet presence and an internet way of getting people in the door through the internet, what would you do between now and April 15th to have that happen?
How big is your list?
Paid advertising.
Very, my email list, I haven't been doing that, so I just.
Who's your target market?
Well, you have existing customers, right? So we're not going to go broke this season, right?
No, we're not going.
Okay. Well, that's important,
I'm just trying
right?
to grow the business.
Right. So I think you should be thinking about next year, quite honestly. And if you're thinking about this year, you got to spend some money, and that's probably in paid advertising.
Well, I'm willing to do that, but it's just a matter of how.
Let me ask one other question, if I may. And that is, how big is your database currently of existing and past clients that have had a relationship with you? Case positive.
Just a few hundred.
Okay. I was wondering if you'd mount a campaign for referrals potentially.
Well, I'm talking about beyond that. I want to.
Then at this point, you're so late in the game for this year that you have an SEO.
Well,
yeah.
What about Google Local?
Who's your ideal client?
Ideal client is small business. Somebody who's working, who basically a mom and pop, or somebody who has up to 5 people,
Okay.
5 to 10 people working for them, a small business.
Right.
Who either they're coming in, they're just self-employed, or they're just growing.
Right.
So if they're just getting in self-employed, I teach them what to do, how to grow the deductions and get how to pay taxes.
Right.
And when they get to a point where they're starting to, make money, then I show them how to restructure their business so that they can save money.
So everything you just said points to you can't do anything about last year, right? For them, you can't educate them about how to increase their deductions for last year.
Oh, yeah.
Not for last year. The deductions are there or they're not, right? If you do their taxes, you're gonna get them every deduction they can get, right?
No, so it's like, a real estate agent comes in and says, listen, why should I hire you? I can do this myself.
Right.
I'm like, okay, come in here and we'll do it your way. And then we'll do it my way and see if I can't,
But there's nothing you can do that will help them with their deductions for last year, because last year's over.
But I think what.
Their business year is over.
That's not true.
He's saying no.
No, what I'm gonna explain, what Bill is saying is they can't modify it here. You may be able to find deductions that they would not identify.
That's it.
But they're not gonna change the behavior.
But they're not. You're not
The data
finding
won't
deductions
change.
out of thin air.
But the data won't change, but he can find more in the data.
Well,
that
what he's saying,
he's saying.
yeah, your reporting is you can basically structure the return differently than they would probably know how to structure in order to save money.
Yeah, then they or most other
Right.
accountants.
But you started out saying you were educating people. That's not educating people.
Well, it certainly is.
Well, educated them perhaps as to,
Kind of consulting.
Yeah, but
as to what they.
what you're saying though,
For
that's what,
instance, like if a friend of mine calls, this happened recently, a friend of mine calls me up, her brother's a CPA, her brother does her taxes for her, but she said, I'm thinking of having you do my taxes this year, how much would you charge? So I gave her like half off, and still her brother's doing it for significantly less, because he's her brother. So I'm like, listen, you're my friend, I don't want to take your money. Send me your return, and if I think I can do better than your brother, then great, you come in and I'll do your tax return. And if I can't, fine. So she sends me her return, and I can probably save her, $1,000 in taxes. So, and she already has her brother, the CPA, doing the taxes. So it's like there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of little tricks and things that most people are not aware of. Even most CPAs don't do stuff like that we can do to kind of improve somebody's tax situation.
No, I get that. I think we're talking.
And that's
Yeah,
without
For your-
planning. That's just
for your target market though, that's chambers of commerce. There's like 5, 6 chambers of commerce is local. Then in your intro, your elevator speech, I'm a tax planner, small business people is what I do. Out here, I'm able to help. Do that in like your 60-second intro. Speak in front of these groups, by the way, because there's opportunity to do 5 minutes. Like at different times, whatever, and then you're a speaker in front of the local chambers and local business groups and.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
well, I am doing networking. So it's just in terms of doing internet marketing, I've missed the boat for this year. Even for like Google Local or something like that.
Do some Facebook ads.
Yeah, it's advertising.
But I don't have 300 likes,
Well, you don't need that for the advertising.
You don't need that stuff.
You can drive them to a landing page on your own site.
Yeah, but the time it's gonna take you to figure out your message, get the pay, you're starting late in the game.
You could find real estate agents, do the targeting, and then have like an ad that pops up, like, need help put your taxes together, are you a real estate pro? Scramble and get it done. Let me show you the top, 5 tips that save you thousands of dollars.
The top little way people make when doing their taxes.
That would be the thing you should do.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So do you belong to your local chamber of commerce? You're missing out because they will sponsor you to give workshops to small businesses. You could do tax workshops right now that say these are the top 5 deductions that everybody misses, or these are the top 7 things that people don't do but are completely legal and make a good headline. But basically they will sponsor you, and you could even have, where we live in Livermore, I could go in there today and say I want to give a workshop on social media, and they'll say when. How much room do you need? Most of them are hurting for business.
People to show up.
Yes.
On the topic, right? Yeah, taxes, fine. Those are-
Right now, it's very timely.
Yeah. that's a
June,
good
probably not so
idea.
much.
Also,
Now it's top of mind.
That's a great idea.
Open has a small business conference,
Yes.
and I've actually presented there a few times, and potentially presented at the small business conference. This is very good attendance. I can't remember like the specifics.
The SBA also does stuff like that, where they might sponsor
I
you.
know somebody who presents at the end of things.
Yeah.
Like every year.
He's probably not doing it very well. Is it
Cheap
Tom?
crowd.
Is it Tom Petty?
No, Tom Petty does your stuff.
Well, he does stuff at the SBA and he doesn't sell there because he doesn't sell there.
Oh, but I know somebody who's doing, they do like bookkeeping or something. They
Yeah.
get no business from it whatsoever.
Well, it could be
SBA is
content
a-
as well, right?
It's a cheap crowd. You know, SBA score, it's a really cheap crowd.
Yeah.
You want chambers, you want, you know,
Right, they don't,
Order-
the SBA people, they don't want to spend any money. They
Yeah.
spend
Order realtors.
$39 to do it themselves.
Well, you could do, okay, you're next. You could do a really simple case study of, these are the tax returns that were brought to me. This is what they paid in taxes, and this is what happened when I did them. And this is what they paid in taxes. You could blank out names and numbers and all that stuff. Here's a case study. So would it be worth it to you, cheap SBA guy, which I don't believe, but that seems to be your experience. You know, cheap SBA guy, would it make sense to you, and I don't know what your rates are, would it make sense for you to pay X amount of dollars to get Y amount in return? You make the choice. I got this guy $1,000, I charge him 500. Does it make sense?
That's basically how I sell.
But you need a bigger audience.
People come in,
Right.
They're coming into your store, you need to go out to and find them. Chambers, SBAs,
yeah.
All the local libraries have those kind of programs too, where they offer classes.
Yeah, but also too, that like the whole sexy thing, it's like top 5 tax breaks, top 7, you know,
Right.
this, you know, like 21 ways to you know, be thinner in a week, you know, and all just this, it's like, it's all numbers, something, you know, like that.
Right, yeah, I know how to create a headline, it's just that I
Yeah.
haven't really thought about copying that.
Okay. You're next, you waited.
I have a question. Do you also do the real estate taxations and especially for foreigners? Because foreigners kind of their tax policy is slightly different in some point.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
you
do that.
do that?
Yeah.
Give me a business card afterwards. And I'm not doing online business, but can I just introduce a video system to you guys? Because I noticed you are moving. Thank you. You are moving your camera to catch up who is talking, but actually there is a very technically mature product in China. Like in this any meeting room, they can design automatic video system. When the host or the teacher is speaking, the camera will go to the front and video you as a talker. But when one of the audience one of the audience talking, the video will automatically change to his position. Let's say his position by censoring the sound and the motion. So and actually the system, the technique now is very mature, and I see the effect like for 100 people's conference, 3 photographers competing with the automatic system, and the photographers don't do better than the system. The
So what's it
system,
called?
it is a new product. They are doing experiment and update again. Not come to market yet, but will be soon.
Okay.
So
Okay.
You can get it and you won't have to try to remember to turn that thing.
yeah, I mean, when this thing, even you can change the direction, but it won't capture you as a speaker. But the automatic system will automatically give you a big photo, and because it can sense the voice, where the voice comes from and where the motion is. So that's very
cool.
good. Yeah. So maybe later
Sounds
on,
wonderful. Love technology.
Actually, I have a big inventory of all kinds of machinery stuff, and a lot of
Talk to me afterwards.
yeah, a lot of
Machinery.
like I
Oh,
give
girl,
you
like you.
another
Very on.
example. Because the robots technique getting advanced now, and the robots can beat a chef, top chef. I mean, in Chinese dish, I don't know here. They didn't develop those inventory yet, but I mean, a lot of amazing machinery stuff I want to marketing here, but basically
They have a robot that cooks dinner for you.
yes, and a robot waitress
Really
too.
good.
Yeah.
And those like if you say 5 years ago, you might have heard those stories. Sounds like not real, but today it's real and not rare. And some restaurants already use
Yeah.
them in
I
China.
want my jetpack down.
You have the robot here that will cook?
Not
He's
here.
thinking more about other than
I mean,
cooking.
this is a complicated business. I mean, if I introduce you here, who gonna do the maintenance for me? Who gonna do? It's a big, more complicated business. But basically, I just have that perception and great potential to do those business.
So they can't train and tech machine over here to take care of them?
Yes, it can, but all about the costs.
Takes time.
Yes, takes time and.
And then when the machines take over, you have Terminator 3.
Yes.
So then what?
You know, labor costs here.
One product at a time, right?
I can tell you.
Wait, labor costs here are so much higher than
Yes.
China, so
No,
if you
no,
get a
no.
Right.
I
machine
mean,
that
the
replaces
cost
the cook,
is not the labor cost or compare other costs. But about the cost, you guys need to build a team to learn that system and how you can take maintenance of those robots. Robots are just like cars. You need to do regular check and regular maintenance. And actually, the cost, if you say expense of using that robot, that's very low. Honestly, I know a very reliable robot, waitress robot, only cost you somewhere 9 months salary of one waitress. So,
Right, but I don't know that I'd want to have
but
waitress, somebody in the back room, back okay, but waitress, I don't think so.
no,
No, that's.
because you don't know. I don't believe either. But when I really see those things, I start to build my beliefs. And today, but also you should notice when you don't just introduce a robot waitress here. You need to design how to regulate your restaurants, and then put the waitress applicable, and all the introduction.
So they're using these in China?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
We'll have a labor shortage.
Yeah.
Yes. Because
And labor is very
the
expensive.
population is aging, and we don't have a lot of workforce as before,
Right.
you know. So
What's the name of that movie? Is it Robot and Frank? Did you see that?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
It's a really cool movie, actually. It's
Frank Langella,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
yeah,
pretty soon,
but that's a movie, but this is the reality.
How many of your products are at CES this year?
Or what?
I see a lot of products, but
No, of your products.
arm products.
Of your products, the products that you say that you have in your basket. How many of those products are at CES this year?
I don't know the exact
Consumer
amount,
electronics.
but I can tell you,
Consumer
I'm
electronics,
focusing on
something. Show.
let's say restaurant industry and
Okay.
agriculture
These aren't
industry
consumer products.
and
These are not, this is
and,
not consumer-based stuff.
But
and
I've seen a lot of weird stuff come out of CES.
yeah.
You know, it's not all just consumer based. You know, I'm. That's,
Yeah.
that
Take care.
takes over.
And
Takes
some
over.
products might be very good to introduce here. Some products may just be good at China. So,
Take care, man.
yeah, it depends.
Yeah, I think perhaps we've gotten a little off track.
Yes. But it's an interesting conversation.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd like to have your email.
Yeah, I'd like to have your card. Do you have a card?
I don't have a card. I'm a student, so.
she has a
So
pet
I don't
robot.
have
You
time.
should be in business.
Aren't
They
you a
don't.
robot?
I'm a student also.
You're a robot.
We're all students. Come on now. If you stop being a student, you stop living.
Yes, you always be a student.
Gotta always be a student.
Yes, always coachable.
All right, what else, guys? You have a question, I can tell.
I actually joined and haven't paid anything, but do you, if I.
I'll take your money anytime.
Cash now.
Yeah.
Can I use the credit card or something?
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
I think I have my Square reader in my,
Cash.
I think I have my Square reader in my,
Okay, good.
I think.
Another question would be, how important is blogging to your overall strategy, essentially?
To me,
I mean,
in my particular business or everybody's?
Your perception.
Depending on your market.
Okay.
Well, I personally think, so let's not say blog, let's say website. I think I think all roads need to lead to your website.
Oh,
If in the online side, right? And probably depending on your business, everything ultimately should fall into your phone number or into your email. Meaning, whether I see you on a billboard or on Facebook or on YouTube, I should eventually wind up in some media where I can contact you. But your website, from an online presence, your website is the hub of everything you do. And everything else is a spoke. Facebook, everything in Facebook should lead back to your website. Everything in Twitter should lead back to your website. And I think blogging is a big component of that. You know, every time I like to repurpose content and make multiple uses of the same piece of content. So if I do a video and I'll post it on YouTube, I'll embed that video in a blog post. I'll share that blog post on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I may republish that content. I'm experimenting now with not just sharing on LinkedIn, but actually writing content on LinkedIn. And right now I'm making it easy. I'm just seeing how much reach I can get by using their platform rather than sharing onto LinkedIn. I'm using their platform to write content. It's too early to tell. But again, every link that I put, I put a link on that content back to my website. And I ultimately want people to join my email list. That's my end goal. I don't really, my marketing right now is not, I'm not focusing on getting quote unquote more customers. I have the luxury now of being able to choose, so I want to build a relationship with somebody, and that's probably going to be somehow online, whether it's email or Skype or a Hangout. I don't do a lot of phone calls, so I don't concentrate on that, but most people still do, right? The phone is the primary way to contact somebody and get contacted by somebody. So for most people, I would say make sure that everything leads back to your website and then channels to your phone. But I would say blogging is a huge part of that, because that's where you showcase your content, your knowledge, your information. And it doesn't have to be all original. You can curate content, from good sources, as long as you link back to them and give them proper attribution and don't rip off their work, right? The idea is that you want to become, kind of a single source for your audience for everything they want to know. And you do that primarily through the content that you either curate or create. What else? We done? You just want to mingle and exchange business cards and all that kind of stuff? You can end it here if you want. Anything else? Okay, well, I want to thank you all for coming. It was a pretty good turnout. Great interaction. Great, great discussion about lots of different things. I like the different perspectives. Kind of opposing viewpoints, and I think it helps us all out. So yeah.
Do you meet specific dates or?
What is it? The second Monday of every month?
Second
Monday of every month.
Real easy to remember.
It's here.
Same
Yeah.
time, same
I don't think I'm.
Same time, same place.
Same process.
Same format. Yep.
It might have been.
No business cards again, Bo. Really?
People know where to find me.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming, and feel free to mingle and